Many years ago, in the small but noisy part of Oba Junction, where every compound had at least one loud radio, one stubborn goat, and one neighbor who minded everybody's business, there lived a young man called Nnamdi Okoli. He was tall and slim. He always wore his slippers until the soul cried for retirement. Yet, he had a big dream burning in his heart. He loved telling stories so much that he decided to open a YouTube channel where he shared dramatic and hilarious African tales. He would sit in his small room with one bright bulb above his head, recording with his old phone balanced on two buckets, and he would laugh at himself as he alone mimicked the voices of elders, wives, side chicks, and even masquerades. Now, people in Oba Junction loved his channel. In fact, they loved it too much. Everywhere you went, you would hear someone repeating his lines. At the borehole, women fetching water would shake their heads and say, "Ha! That episode where the goat swallowed school fees. I nearly died of laughter." In the barber shop, Ugochukwu the barber would play the videos loudly so that customers waiting for haircuts could laugh and forget that his clipper was older than the oldest man. Even in Agnes' shop, where customers gathered to buy rice and beans, she would bend her phone secretly behind the counter and hiss when people disturbed her, saying, "Shift small abeg, let me hear the ending of this man's story." However, there was a problem. In spite of the massive love by people on the streets, Nnamdi's channel was dry like Harmattan yam online. He would upload a video and watch the numbers climb to thousands of views. But when he opened the like button, he would only see 10 likes blinking like lost stars, and the comment section would look like an abandoned farmland with just two weeds growing. One evening, as he sat outside his room with his laptop on his knees, his friend Obinna passed by and saw him sighing. "Nna, what is the problem? Did NEPA take light again?" Nnamdi shook his head dramatically. "Obinna, you would not understand. I just uploaded my latest story, The Tailor Who Stitched His Mouth Shut, and in 1 hour, it already has 1,200 views." Obinna exclaimed, "That is good news now." "Good news?" Nnamdi raised his voice. "Only 4 people liked it, 4, and only 2 comments. One wrote, 'First to comment,' and ran away. The second person just typed, interesting, without even putting comma. Obinna, what kind of wicked audience is this?" Obinna burst out laughing until he choked. "But nah, you know our people now. They like to lick soup, but they don't want to buy meat. They will watch your stories, laugh until their ribs break, but to click like, never." At that moment, Mama Chinwe, one of the story's lovers, walked past with a basin of vegetables on her head, and she overheard them. She stopped, adjusted her wrapper, and said, Nnamdi, so you are worried about likes? My son, don't stress yourself. Oh. I watch your channel every night when my children are asleep, but I will never like or comment." Why now, Mama Chinwe?" Nnamdi asked in confusion. "Because," she said proudly, "if I like it, you will grow wings. You will think you are now bigger than your village people. I prefer to watch you quietly." Obinna laughed again and clapped his hands. "You see, evidence has entered." Mama Chinwe hissed and walked away muttering, "Story, story every day. He will not go and marry. He will not settle down. Every time camera, camera." That night, as Nnamdi lay on his bed staring at the ceiling, he heard his neighbor's children in the next compound acting out his story word for word. One of them shouted, "I am the tailor, bring needle." Another person answered, "I will stitch your mouth shut." And they all burst into laughter. Nnamdi covered his face with his pillow and groaned. "So they can quote my story like Bible verse, but not one of them will type amen in the comment section." Now, in Oba Junction, everybody claimed to be busy, yet somehow they all had time to watch Nnamdi's stories. From the rich man with a generator that never rested, to the woman who sold okpa at the roadside, to the apprentices who pretended to be sewing but were really bent over their phones. Everybody watched his channel, but nobody liked or commented. To even subscribe was like asking for their blood, and their reasons the reasons were so ridiculous that if you wrote them in a book, even angels would laugh. Take Mama Chinwe, for example. Every night, after quarreling with her children to sleep early, she would spread her wrapper on the floor, plug her small technophone and grin. Let me hear what Nnamdi has dropped today. She would laugh until tears rolled down her cheeks, holding her stomach, sometimes even slapping the floor in excitement. But when her daughter once told her, "Mommy, just press the like button now," she hissed and snapped back. "Press like for what? Do you want his head to swell? I beg, let him remain humble. Likes are not food." And that was how she continued watching like a thief in the night. Then there was Ugochukwu the barber. His shop was always filled with noise because he used Nnamdi's channel to entertain his customers. He would put on the videos at full blast, and while clipping hair, he would laugh loudly and even pause to mimic characters from the story. But whenever any of his customers said, "This man is good though, why don't you subscribe and comment on his videos to support him?" Ugochukwu would frown and say, "No, if he sees my comments, he would think I am begging for friendship. I want him to know I am a hard man." Yet secretly, Ugochukwu had memorized half of the stories on Nnamdi's channel, and he even used some of the punchlines to toast girls at the junction. And then there was Blessing, the tailor's apprentice, who pretended she hated YouTube, but every afternoon she would sneak into the back room of the shop, place her phone under the sewing machine, and giggle while pretending to pass thread in needles. When her madam caught her once and asked what she was laughing at, Blessing quickly lied, "I was only remembering something from church." In truth, she was watching the day market women chased a goat into church, and she replayed the part of the goats jumping on the pulpit 5 times in a row. But perhaps the funniest of them was Papa Ebuka, the retired civil servant. He carried a big button phone for calls, but in secret, he borrowed his son's smartphone to watch Nnamdi's videos late at night. He was so addicted that one day, he even dreamt that Nnamdi was chasing him with a microphone shouting, "Like my video, subscribe to my channel." Yet, when he woke up sweating and saw that it was only a dream, he promised himself never to comment, saying, "If I comment, he will know I am watching him. And if he knows, he will expect me to donate, and I don't have strength for donation." In all these homes, the pattern was the same. They watched with passion, they laughed until tears dropped, and they argued offline about the characters. But online, their silence was like a curse. Some were afraid that if they commented, their enemies would trace them. Others believed clicking like would reduce their phone's battery. A few even said, "I beg, if we comment too much, he will start charging us." One evening, as Ugochukwu closed his barber shop, a customer asked Ugo, "Why do you always play this channel if you cannot support him online?" Ugochukwu laughed and replied, "Support care. I am already helping him by making my customers watch. Isn't that enough?" But the customer shook his head and muttered, "You are helping yourself, not him. Be honest, you are using his laughter to cover your bad clipper." Everyone around burst into laughter, while Ugochukwu stood there pretending not to hear. After many nights of sighing and calculating, Nnamdi finally decided he could no longer keep quiet. "These people think I don't know they watch my stories secretly. Well, I will test their loyalty. I will know the real fans from the fake ones." So, the very next day, he set up his camera, cleared his throat, and uploaded a video announcement. "My wonderful viewers, I want to thank you all for your love and support. To celebrate, I am holding a small thank you gathering this Saturday at Oba Town Hall, 4 p.m. sharp. If you enjoy my stories, please come. Let's eat, laugh, and discuss together. Entry is free, my people. Just bring your presents." He ended the video with a smile so wide that even his crooked front tooth was shining. He imagined the hall filled with cheerful fans and the stage decorated with balloons. He even rehearsed how he would walk in like a celebrity, nodding slowly while children shouted his story titles as if they were anthems. On Saturday morning, Nnamdi wore his best shirt, a blue checkered one that he ironed until the collar stood like a soldier on parade. He sprayed his only perfume so generously that even goats sniffed and sneezed as he passed. By 3 o'clock, he arrived at the town hall nervous but excited. He arranged chairs neatly in rows, placed bottles of Fanta on the table, and even bought one small microphone from the electronics shop in case the crowd overflowed. However, by 4 o'clock, the hall was empty. By 4:30, it was still empty. At 5 p.m., only his cousin Ikechukwu walked in lazily, chewing granuts. "Nna, are they not coming?" Ikechukwu asked. "They will come," Nnamdi replied. "Maybe something is delaying them." By 5:30, one more person appeared, a teen boy called Samson, who was famous for always typing first to comment on Nnamdi's stories before disappearing. He came, sat down, waved at Nnamdi, and immediately began playing Candy Crush on his phone. That was it. The hall remained empty. It seemed as though the rows of chairs were mocking Nnamdi with their emptiness. His microphone sat unused. His Fanta bottles were sweating on the table like orphans abandoned in the sun. But outside the hall, outside was another story. The street was dancing like a market. People had gathered in small groups, gossiping and laughing about Nnamdi's latest upload. One woman waved her hands excitedly, retelling the plot twist about the palm wine tapper who climbed without a rope. A group of mechanics reenacted one of his punchlines, slapping their knees and shouting, "That Nnamdi is mad oh!" Children skipped ropes while singing lines from his stories as if they were nursery rhymes. Nnamdi peeped through the window and nearly fainted. So, these people are outside enjoying themselves, but they cannot enter. Why? At that moment, he heard two women passing by discussing. One of them said, "Are you going in?" The other replied, "God forbid. If I go in, he will know I watch his stories. I cannot give him that satisfaction." Another man laughed with his friend. "Let us just stay outside and gist. If we enter now, he will ask us to comment next time, and I don't have energy for typing." Nnamdi's heart sank like a stone in water. He looked at Ikechukwu, who was busy stealing the Fanta. He looked at Samson, who was still tapping his Candy Crush game, and he realized the truth. His viewers were not ghosts. They were worse than ghosts. They were silent watchers who wanted his laughter but not his recognition. The Monday after the failed thank you gathering, the whole of Oba Junction market was vibrating with life. Akara sellers were already out. Traders shouted prices until their voices cracked. Goats ran between stalls as if they were shopping for themselves, and in the middle of it all, Nnamdi's stories were the hottest topic. Near the yam section, Mama Chinwe sat with her hair tied so tightly that it looked like it was holding secrets. She was telling a customer, "Have you watched that new episode Nnamdi dropped? The one where the bride ran away because her groom paid her bride price in coins." Chineke, I nearly fainted from laughter. The customer laughed and clapped her hands. "I saw it oh, my children even acted it out in the house. They were singing Coin Husband, Penny Groom." Just then, Mama Nkechi, who sold vegetables nearby, turned her head sharply. Excuse me, but that is not how the story ended oh. You are lying small." Mama Chinwe frowned. "What do you mean I am lying? Did you not see where the elders told the man to crawl on the floor and pick his coins one by one?" Mama Nkechi waved her hand dismissively. "No, it was not crawling. He was forced to wash the coins in the stream because they said it was too dirty. That's how the story ended." The customer looked confused. "But in the video, I saw he was crawling." "Yes," Mama Chinwe shouted. "I saw it with my 2 eyes. I watch every single episode." "Ah," Mama Nkechi raised her voice. "So you are calling me blind? I also watch it now." Before long, the two women were shouting and their voices became louder than the men selling meat across the road. Other traders abandoned their wares and gathered to watch the quarrel. At the other end of the market, not far from Mama Nkechi, Ugochukwu the barber was arguing with Benson the vulcanizer. Ugochukwu said confidently, "That episode about the goats inside church. The goat jumped on the pastor's head. I can never forget that scene." Benson burst into laughter. "Ugo, you are a liar. The goat never touched the pastor. It only scattered the choir stand." "It touched the pastor," Ugochukwu insisted. "If I lie, let's thunder strike this my clipper." Benson hissed, "You are even swearing on that clipper that cannot cut hair without biting ears? Nonsense." The goats scattered the choir stand, period. Their shouting match grew so loud that passers-by stopped to listen. One young man who overheard them then stopped and asked, "Which episode are you even talking about? Where did you see all this?" Suddenly, silence fell. Nobody answered. Mama Chinwe looked at Mama Nkechi. Mama Nkechi looked at Ugochukwu. Ugochukwu looked at Benson. They all shifted awkwardly. The young man repeated, "Since you people claim you are fans, why not go to his comment section and confirm it? Did you not drop comments there?" This time, the market broke into laughter. Somebody shouted, "Comment!" These ones, they are silent watchers, monitoring spirits. They know the story even more than Nnamdi himself, but they can never type one word online. A tomato seller added, "It is true, I always see them quoting Nnamdi lines, but go to his channel, you will see only 2 comments. First to comment and interesting. Yet, here in the market, they are fighting as if they are his script writers. The shame spread across their faces like hot pepper." Mama Chinwe hissed, carried her basin of yams and muttered, "Abeg, let me go home. I don't have time for foolish people." Mama Nkechi followed, tying her wrapper angrily. Ugochukwu pretended he had a customer waiting for him and ran back to his barber shop, while Benson kicked his vulcanizing machine as if it had offended him. Well, the gossip did not stop there. By evening, the entire town was laughing about the market drama. Nnamdi, who was sitting in his room that night, heard their voices floating through the window. He shook his head and laughed bitterly. "So now, the silent watchers are fighting over my stories in public. Very soon, their silence will disgrace them more than it disgraces me." He tapped his pen against his notebook and stared at the blank page as if the answer would jump out. Then, like unexpected thunder striking, an idea hit him. He smiled slowly. "This time, I will catch them red-handed. They think they are wise. They will expose themselves with their own mouths." The very next week, he uploaded a brand new video titled "The Goats That Ate the Yam and Lied About It." The story was hilarious and filled with his usual drama. But at the middle of the story, Nnamdi paused and said in a serious voice, "If you are truly watching, type this sentence in the comments: 'The goats ate the yam.' Let me know my real fans." After that, he continued the story as if nothing had happened, laughing and acting like his usual self. 3 hours later, Nnamdi opened his YouTube app eagerly. His heart pounded as he checked the comments. He scrolled and scrolled again, but found nothing. Only 2 usual suspects. First to comment, interesting. No one had typed the secret phrase. Not a single person. His heart sank for a moment, but then he noticed something strange. That evening, as he walked through Oba Junction, he began to hear comments. At the tailor's shop, apprentices were chanting loudly, "The goats ate the yam! The goats ate the yam!" And they were laughing so much that their madam had to chase them with a broom. At the roadside, children skipping rope shouted, "The goats ate the yam" as their new chorus. Even at the barber shop, Ugochukwu was boasting to a customer, "Hey, did you hear the new story? The code is 'The goats ate the yam.' If you don't know it, then you are not a real fan." Nnamdi almost burst into laughter right there in the streets. So, they all heard it. They are repeating it everywhere. But did they type it in the comments? No, they would rather use it to gossip like stolen akara. The next day in the market, Mama Chinwe called out to Mama Nkechi across the yam stall, "Hey, my sister, have you watched the new one? The goats ate the yam, oh." Mama Nkechi clapped her hands. "Yes, I nearly died of laughter. That goat is like my neighbor's son, always denying what he eats. A young boy buying tomatoes overheard them and asked, "Aunties, did you type it in the comment section like he said?" Both women froze and blinked rapidly. Mama Chinwe finally said, "Me? I was too busy. I did not have time." Mama Nkechi quickly added, "And me, my phone was misbehaving. Oh, I would have commented, but network swallowed my words." The boy shrugged and walked away, but the shame was already plastered on their faces. Meanwhile, the town was turning upside down with the phrase. Even people who had never watched Nnamdi's channel before were repeating it without knowing where it came from. It was on people's lips in church after service, in Okada parks, even at the chief's meeting. People would say, "Good morning," and another person would reply jokingly, "The goat ate the yam," and everybody would laugh. Yet, when Nnamdi opened his channel, his comment section was still empty of the phrase. His silent watchers had proven that they watched, as they spread his code everywhere, but they refused to write it in the one place that mattered. That night, Nnamdi sat in his room laughing so hard that his neighbor knocked on the door to ask if he was okay. He shouted back, "I am fine, oh, I am just watching goats eating yam." And then, one bright Saturday morning, Oba Junction woke up to a new kind of excitement. A white bus with tinted windows rolled into the town, and from it came men and women carrying cameras, microphones, and tripods. They wore neat shirts with the logo of a popular regional TV station, and the moment people saw them, they started doing cho like fire spreading in dry grass. "TV people have entered our town," oh, someone shouted at the roadside. "They are looking for somebody," another person added. And just like that, the market, the barber shop, even the beer parlor resonated with one rumor. They came because of Nnamdi the storyteller. By noon, the journalist had located Nnamdi's compound. They introduced themselves politely, explaining that they had heard about a young man whose stories were shaking the whole region, and they wanted to feature him in their program. This was a rare chance that could lift his name far beyond Oba Junction. Nnamdi's heart almost burst with joy. At last, the recognition he had prayed for had arrived. He hurriedly offered them seats, fetched bottles of malt from the shop, and tried not to look like someone who had just soaked Gary for breakfast. But the journalists were professional. They nodded politely and asked, "We have heard so much about you from the locals, but before we proceed, we want to check your online footprints. Can we see your channel analytics?" Nnamdi confidently opened his laptop and brought up the page. The journalists leaned forward. Their eyes widened when they saw the view counts, thousands upon thousands. "This is impressive," one of them said. But then another one frowned. "Wait, only 7 comments, and 5 of them just say first to comment. Are you sure these numbers are real?" Nnamdi's smile froze on his face at that very moment, as if the ancestors themselves wanted the story to sweeten. Some of the silent watchers began to gather at the gate. They had heard about the journalist who came for Nnamdi, and they rushed in pretending to be supportive. Ugochukwu the barber squeezed to the front shouting, "Yes, so he's very popular. Everybody in this town watches his stories." Mama Chinwe added proudly, "Yes, now, if you go to my shop, you will hear my customers laughing over his episodes. Even my children quote him every day." The journalist turned to them curiously. "Really? If that is so, why don't we see your comments? His page looks empty." The compound went silent. A choir of flies buzzed. Mama Chinwe's wrapper almost untied itself in shame. Finally, she stammered, "You see, comment is not our style. We support him in spirit." Another person added, "Yes, so we don't type, but we laugh very well." The journalists exchanged glances. One of them shook his head and said, "This is strange. You claim to love him, yet you cannot click one button. You cannot type a single word. This may affect our decision because a man without an active audience may not survive on a bigger stage." The crowd shifted uneasily. The silent watchers had never felt so exposed. Their excuses sounded like foolishness in front of outsiders. One man tried to defend them. It's not our fault oh, sometimes network fails. But before he could finish, his son shouted, Daddy, but you always download and watch him offline. You even laugh until you choke. The crowd exploded in laughter and the man wished for the ground to swallow him. Meanwhile, Nnamdi stood quietly watching his so-called fans squirm. The people who could have given him wings had nearly clipped his wings with their stinginess. By evening, the journalist finally told him, "We'll still consider featuring you, but you must work on building active engagement. Numbers without voices are like empty drums." As they left, the crowd followed behind nervously, sweating in guilt. For the first time, they began to see the weight of their silence. Their refusal to click like or write a simple comment had almost buried Nnamdi's chance at destiny. That night, the whole town could not rest. From Mama Chinwe's shop to Ugochukwu's Baba stand, from the pepper sellers at the junction to the beer parlor guys, everyone was burning with shame. People whispered to each other, "Did you hear how those journalists disgraced us?" They asked about comments, and we stood like goats caught in a yam ban. Mama Chinwe tossed and turned on her bed. She could not sleep. Her daughter asked, "Mommy, but why didn't you just click like since now?" Mama Chinwe hissed, "Keep quiet. Do you think it is easy?" Well, the truth was already biting her harder than a mosquito. In another house, Ugochukwu the Baba was lying awake, replaying the moment the journalist had asked why he never commented. He felt his ears burning. Right there, he promised, "Tomorrow morning I will comment, even if it is with blood." By dawn, the scramble began. Nnamdi woke up, yawned, stretched, and lazily opened his phone. However, what he saw almost made him fall off his bed. His channel, which was once quiet like a cemetery, was suddenly roaring with comments. "Boss, I am your #1 fan. Oh, I have been watching since day one. Forgive me for not commenting. Honestly, I always like with my heart, even if I don't press the button. You are the light of Oba Junction. Ride on, Nnamdi." This channel sweet past sugar. They came like flood, dozens, then hundreds. Some comments were so deep that they looked like love letters. "Dear Nnamdi, I watch you with my family every night. Even our goat watches with us." Nnamdi laughed until tears rolled down his cheeks. He scrolled and scrolled, shaking his head. "Ah, so this is how the fear of shame can turn dead fingers into typing machine? Where were all of you before?" Now, the funniest part came at the barber shop. Customers walked in and found Ugochukwu bent over his phone, sweating as he typed long essays under every single video. He was writing things like, "This is the best storyteller in Africa, in fact, in the world, in fact, in the universe." When one customer teased him, Ugo, is this not the same you that never commented before?" He snapped, "Better shut up there. I have always been loyal. You just didn't see it." In the market, Mama Chinwe bragged loudly, "Check his channel now. My comment is there, #1. I wrote it with capital letters." But her neighbor Mama Nkechi shouted back, "That is a lie. Oh, I was the first to comment this morning before you even opened your shop." And just like that, the silent watchers who once refused to type began competing to see who could type the most. However, Nnamdi had the last laugh. Instead of being angry, he decided to give them the medicine that would cure them once and for all. He uploaded a brand new story titled The Silent Watchers. He acted it exactly as it had happened, exaggerating a little on the fans who watched secretly, refused to support, got exposed by strangers, and then scrambled like headless chickens to save themselves. When the video dropped, Oba Junction went mad. People gathered in shops, at the borehole, at bus stops, watching and laughing until their ribs hurt. They laughed, not because it was just a story, but because they saw themselves inside it. Every insult, every mockery line, and every funny exaggeration was aimed at them, and they knew it. And so, from that day on, the curse of silence broke. Whenever Nnamdi uploaded a video, his comment section would lit up like a Christmas tree, likes poured in, emojis danced everywhere, and even those who still preferred gossiping offline made sure to type something, even if it was just LOL or keep it up. They had learned the hard way that supporting in secret is like cooking soup and refusing to add salt. Everybody will eat, but the taste will always expose you. Hi besties, please come closer and hear this one out. Nnamdi is me and I am Nnamdi. Let's demolish this table today. You sit quietly with your phones, laughing until tears roll down, even repeating my lines in your houses, at work, in markets, in gyms. But when it is time to click like, you suddenly develop arthritis in your thumb. When it is time to comment, your keyboard goes on strike. When it is time to subscribe, you will say later, and that later never comes. Some of you are like Mama Chinwe. You watch me every night like a secret lover. But you say, if I comment, her head will swell. Some of you are like Ugochukwu the barber. You use my stories to entertain your customers, even to toast girls, but you refuse to type well done. And some of you are like Papa Ebuka. You even dream of me chasing you with microphone shouting, subscribe to my channel. Yet, you still wake up and watch in silence. Besties, let me tell you the truth. A story without your engagement is like fufu without soup. It fills the stomach, but leaves the tongue dry. Your likes are the pepper, your comments are the oil, and your subscriptions are the meat that make the effort appreciated. So, if you really love me, don't just laugh and go. Click the like button, drop one comment, even if it is chai or bestie you sabi. Please subscribe properly, because in this YouTube junction, silence is not golden, no. Silence is wickedness. Let us not allow Nnamdi's pain to repeat in my own life. Don't be a silent lover, my besties. Be a loud lover, because the same way you laugh here, I also need to laugh when I see those likes and comments. And remember, if you can gossip my story offline, you can type one small sentence online. And to my loud lovers who never miss an opportunity to show their love online, I am sending a big hug your way. You have a special place in my heart. I'll see you all in the next story. Bye.